So before we get started, check out the following links in the description box below as highlighted in the image shown. So you'll be able to get our past papers, our link to our official website, link to accreditations, our link to donation page, and contact details in the description. So once you'll be watching a certain video of any lesson or of any past paper, you'll be able to get all these links, and you can be able to get to download past papers, to reach to our official website. You'll be able to see links to our accreditations so that you can see which authorities have accredited us. You'll be able to reach to our donation page as well as our contact details.
Welcome back to another lesson. We continue with our revision series, and in this video you are going to look at an exam that was done in December 2022, Fundamentals of Finance, and our focus shall be on question number 2. I'll begin with the first part of question number 2A. It reads, explain the term venture capitalist as used in finance. We want to look at the term venture capitalist. So, venture capitalist is money that is provided by investor or investors to start up companies and small businesses or SMEs and small businesses and these businesses are believed to have a long-term existence, believed to have a long-term growth potential, believed to have a long-term growth potential. Now, what do these investors get in exchange? Yeah. So the rewards is exchange. The reward is exchange for providing capital to these businesses. You are saying that the rewards in exchange for providing capital to these businesses is the security or financial securities. The reward in exchange for providing capital to this business is the financial security. They may also provide guidance and advice on operation of these businesses. They may also provide guidance. They may also provide guidance and advice in business operations or in business in business strategies. So we are saying that venture capitalist is the money that is provided by investors or investors to a startup companies and small businesses that are believed to have a long-term growth potential. The reward in exchange for providing this capital is the financial securities. They may also provide guidance and advice in business strategies. We move on to part B. You are told identify 3 differences between factoring and invoice discounting. 1 is that invoice discounting, the customer is aware of the invoice. The customer is aware that the invoice is being factored. Yeah. However, here we are talking about invoice factoring, because you are differentiating between factoring and invoice discounting. You are saying invoice factoring, the customer is aware that the invoice is being factored. However, in invoice discounting, the customer is not. The customer is usually unaware. The customer is usually unaware. Two, we say that invoice factoring, the finance company, the factor that is financing company, is responsible for collecting invoices, while in invoice discounting, the business itself takes responsibility. The business itself takes responsibility. The business takes responsibility in collecting the invoices. Lastly, we can say that in invoice factoring, the customer pay for the customers pay the factoring company, pays the factoring company. The customer pays the factoring companies directly. While in invoicing discounting, the customer pays the factoring companies. While in invoicing discounting, the customer pays the factoring companies directly. While in invoicing discounting, the customer pays the factoring companies directly. While in invoicing discounting, the customer pays the factoring companies directly. While in invoicing discounting, the customer pays the factoring companies directly. While in invoicing discounting, while in invoice discounting, the customer pay the company as normal. You're saying that the customer pay the company as normal. So those are the main differences between factoring, invoice factoring, and invoice discounting. Invoice factoring and invoice discounting. We have said basically those are the three areas that you need to look into. Although there are many, you can still check on our notes that we have provided to you on our website. We go to part C. You are told Eric Nandoa borrowed $250,000 from Prit Sacco at a monthly interest rate of 3%. The loan is to be amortized using the reducing balance method and be repaid in 6 equal monthly installments payable at the end of each month. Required, prepare a loan amortization schedule. Now, you see, when you want to prepare a loan amortization schedule, you need to know what is the installment. Loan installment. Loan installment is $250,000 divided by present value annuity factor. This one will be $250,000 divided by 5.4172, and this is shillings 46,149.30. Once you know how much is the loan installment, then we can proceed to prepare the loan amortization schedule. How many months are you preparing the loan? This is 6 months. We are told that we prepare a loan for 6 months. So months, we shall have the months here. Balance brought forward. Then we look at the installment. Then interest at 3%. Then loan repaid and balance carried down. The first month, of course, there is no balance brought forward. That is this is the initial month 0. So balance brought forward is 250. So when you go to the first month, this is 250. Installment is what you have found here, 46,149.30. And this one is constant installment. If you are taking a loan, a check of loan, that is the same amount that will be deducted monthly. The amount of interest will keep on changing. The first month is 3% of 250,000. That gives you 7,500. And then the loan that has been repaid is 38,000. The difference 649.3. So here we are going to have 211,350.7. I hope you are getting my point here. This is the installment that is being deducted monthly. From this one, you have the interest, and then the portion that is left is for the loan. We go to the second month. The amount that is carried forward that becomes brought down the second month, 350.7. The installment remained constant, 149.30. Find the interest, 3% of 211. This will give you 6340.52. The difference between these two is the loan repaid 39,808.78, and the balance here is 171,541.92. Where am I getting the balance? The balance is 211 minus 46. You get this one. Here, the loan interest is 3% of 211. You get the interest. Installment, the loan repaid is installment minus the interest. You go to the third month. The interest there is 171 541.92. The installment remain constant, 149.30. Take 3% of 171,542, and this will give you 5146.26. Subtract these two to get the loan repaid. That is 41,003.04. Then 171 minus 46 gives you 130,538.88. Then this one becomes the balance brought forward the following year, 538.88. The installment remain the same. Then interest, take 3% of 130. That gives you 39.16.17. Subtract these two to get the loan repaid. That is 42,233.13. Then you take 130 minus the installment. You get the balance carried down here. That will be 305.75. That becomes the balance brought forward the next year, 88,305.75. Installment is constant, and then 3% of 88,305.75. This gives you 2649.17. Subtract these two to get the loan repaid, and that is 43,500.13. And lastly, we have the balance carried down, 805.62. This one becomes the amount that is available in the last month. That is 44,805.62. You have to repay the whole amount. You have to repay the whole amount, 149.30. Remember, here we are repaying the whole amount. If there will be a balance, what is the 3% of this amount? Here we shall have 13344.17. Then if you take 44,805 minus 46, you realize this one is already in excess. So that means we take these two, subtract these two, you get this is 44,805.13, and therefore you have repaid your loan. Yeah, if you look at this one, 44,805.6, you subtract, you take, this is the loan that is left. Then installment minus interest is giving you the same loan, mean that at the end of it all, you'll have cleared your loan. So this is what we call loan repayment or loan amortization schedule, where it is just showing how you're gonna pay your loan for the entire period of 6 months. Yeah, so it's a matter of getting to understand how the loan is going to be repaid. I'm saying this is the present value of the loan which you have acquired now, 250. So these are installments. These installments are going to be used by deducting them to get the amount of loan that is going to be paid. When you add all this, they should give you the loan. All this, they should give you 250,000. Yeah, all that is the loan that you have repaid. It should give you 250,000. Now we move on to Part D. Part D, you are saying that Paul Kalama is considering investing in a 5-year shillings 1,000 per value bond bearing a coupon rate of 7%. Paul Kalama required rate of return is 8%. The bond is quoted at 950 in the bond market. The bond will be redeemed as par. You are told compute the intrinsic value of the bond. Compute the intrinsic value. First of all, let's ask ourselves, how much is the coupon interest? Coupon here is 8%. The rate is 8%. You see, the coupon is 7%. Sorry, 7% of 1,000. Yeah, the coupon here is 7%. 7 over 100 times 1,000. this amount of interest paid. This gives you 70. Therefore, we shall now find intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is 1000 times, no, this should be, this should be 70, or interest is normally calculated as interest times present value annuity factor plus par value times present value interest factor. The interest here is 70. Present value interest factor 8% for 5 years, 3.9927 plus 1000 times present value interest factor 0.6806. When you add all this, this is 279.489 plus 680.600. This gives you 960.089, and that is the intrinsic value. The intrinsic value therefore becomes shillings 960.089. Now you are told to advise, part B, advise Paul Kalama on whether he should purchase the bond based on the computation. You see, the value of the bond is 960. Yeah. So we say what? Paul Kalama should buy the bond. Paul Kalama should buy the bond. Since the market price of shillings 950 is less than the intrinsic value. Is less than the intrinsic value of shillings 960.089. You see, every person in this world, if you are in business, you're in business to make profit. You always buy things that are selling at lesser price for you to sell them at higher price. So if you compare the market price of 950 and the intrinsic value of 960, therefore it's advisable that Paul Kalama should buy the bonds. Otherwise, that is what you are supposed to do on this question. That is question number 2 of December 2022. We are going to stop there, and further readings, check materials that are provided to you on our website and other reading materials that you may have at your disposal. It's goodbye for now.
So if you like this video, you can always enroll with us. You'll be able to access more of these revision sessions, and also you'll be able to find well done lectures or pre-recorded videos for all the KASNEB courses as well as CHRP. And in case of anything, you can always reach us out. We have our contact details on the screen. Feel free to call, feel free to WhatsApp anytime. So thank you, and let's meet in our next session.